Welcome back to Quake Pro League Season 4. I am 40 Lions, joined by ZSX. We've had quite a few series done, but I think I personally am very excited for this next one, Dan. We got the return of toxjq going up against nosfa.
Yeah, I think everyone's excited to see Tox back. Probably the fan favorite in the Pro League nowadays, I'd say. So always puts on the show. I think Serious-esque in some of his games in that he's somebody that has all of the flair, but sometimes has these little cracks in his game that allows opponents in at this level. Once again, you just can't have that. But he is known for some of the best mechanical skill in history, really. And when he brings that, puts it all together, he can be unbeatable.
Yeah, it was a bit heartbreaking to see him in previous seasons where he would just, it seemed like the last 2-3 minutes of a duel, absolute kryptonite. Like it would all just crumble, something would go wrong. Excited to see how he plays. But again, on the other end, we have nosfa, who's been, referred to as lightning in a bottle. We've seen fantastic performances, a lot of overtime clutches, specifically on Awoken. There was a while there where it's almost like he preferred going into overtime when playing on Awoken. This dude is an absolute beast. He could play very aggressive. He could play defensive. He can do a little bit of everything. So I'm very interested to see exactly what form he's in. Again, this being week 1 and everything, people enjoying their off season, starting to ramp back up now that the Quake Pro League is officially underway. It's going to be interesting to see nosfa, especially going up against Tox.
Yeah, and I think he had a pretty disappointing season overall for his standards, where he would want to be just kind of steady and mid-level at the end, where he was looking to push on and almost, being surpassed by Max is fine, but, he was always the dominant player from that region. So definitely have something to prove, and I think to your point, he can do everything, and I think there were times where he was struggling to find that balance and really understand what his playstyle was going to be. But when he turns up, he's one of these players that really can beat anyone. So I want to see that more consistency from nosfa, if anything.
Well, the question that everyone should have is, can Tox play Slash? We're going to hop into the pick bands and we're going to find out right now. Are we going to see a little bit of that magic? OMG, as the children say. We got Awoken, Blood Covenant, Molten Falls. Dan, I'm going to let you take the champ picks.
I mean, first Awoken of the day, you've already said how much nosfa really enjoys that map, and he's gone toe-to-toe against Fox. No, that's another player that's
We'll get him in the league next year. We'll see.
That would be dope. But against Tox, so speed versus speed, I think he would have guessed the Slash was coming. He favors the Strog, though, has a little bit more stack, still has very good speed and utility, so that's going to be a banger. And Tox obviously wants to take that off the board as soon as he can, because undoubtedly would have been banned in the second round on Blood Covenant. He himself does a serious, picks up the Doom. Again, we saw how good Doom can be when he's in control. Question is, can he? nosfa, though, decides he's going to be a bit of a battle and decides for the Nyx, which can play incredibly defensive there. And we know, the likes of Killsome picking that up on Blood Covenant can be an unbeatable pick when you play it to its maximum potential. And then Molten Falls, we're left with the Gleaner against the Ison, the first Ison of the season. So we'll see how that goes. A little bit of an interesting pick on Molten Falls. It's okay. I mean, Ison's just one of these champions that doesn't really excel on any massive map, but it's just good utility overall. And the Gleaner, once again, as we saw against Sirius, you can play that overstack, you can play it in combat. It's a really good pick on Molten Falls.
Yeah, I think versatile is a good way to kind of describe Ison. Not necessarily super strong on any specific map, as you said, but great zoning with Timmy the Turret. So looking at these champ picks and the maps, what do you think, Dan? Who's going to take this set? What are we going to see today?
Bro, I mean...
We're going to see some magic at the very least, because we get Tox on Slash right off the bat.
I'm actually feeling a Tox. I quite like the picks overall. I feel it's pretty even across the board. I'm feeling a Tox victory today. He's going to come back with a Storm.
All right. I mean, I want to pick with my heart and say Tox too, just because everyone's so glad to see him back. No disrespect to nosfa, but it's just an absolute legend in the arena, in the league once again. So we kind of hope to see that Tox maybe takes it 2-1, but we'll see. nosfa has the ability to do so as well. It could be 2-1, could be 3-0. Everything's up in the air. Nothing matters. I just want to see some great Quake, and I'm very excited to see Tox on Slash. That's just the classic. That's the classic right there.
No, the only map I think is a little bit one-sided is that Doom versus Nyx, but it's not massively, but it can fall out of favor very quickly if that Nyx gets ahead. So that's the only one I would say is massively against one way or the other. Otherwise, it's pretty even across the board.
I want to see some cool berserk cancels that we haven't seen before. There's got to be some tech that someone's hiding. Maybe not bring it out day 1, season 4, but there's got to be something there.
You
because
mean
there
like
are some
the
changes.
fake pump to get out of combat and then you double back?
I'm just saying, there's got to be something. We're going to see it. It might not be today, but I'm excited. I mean, a whole new season ahead of us. Very exciting, and I can't wait to get into this game. We're loading up shortly here. It's going to be Tox versus nosfa, and I hope. Production, please. Let's start on Tox. Again, no disrespect to nosfa, but everybody in chat, I think, wants to see this poetry in motion that is Slash being controlled by toxjq, the world's greatest, I would say. And we're loading up in here shortly. Map 1 between these two for the set. Let's see who can start off with a bang here. We are live. Quake Pro League Season 4 at nosfa versus toxjq. And yes, we get that toxic slash right there and a rail right off the bat, 5 seconds in, no fear.
That's all he wants, the rail and the LG, and he's a happy boy. But he's got his slash to boot, so we know, as you said, how quickly, how amazing he can play that. Will nosfa let him though? That's the question.
nosfa has to know what's up and what he's up against here. And again, he's a bit of a connoisseur on Awoken. So we'll see. Great rail there. Good positioning from nosfa to get that free rail off. It was, I think, slightly before the Mega. toxjq looking for some damage. I love the green items. Maybe a shout to Dewey. Wherever you are, Dewey, we miss you.
The difference, the interesting thing is obviously you would look at kind of Tox and Sirius and think they're fairly similar. Hard hitting, amazing hit scan, but the way in which they approach the game couldn't be more different. The way in which Tox just wants to go pull out speed and aggression, get in your face, versus Sirius's more placid, positional playstyle. It's incredibly interesting. And it makes Tox so tricky because he hits just the most abstract shots as he's flying around the map.
Oh boy, LG on LG swap to Rockets, 8 HP, and toxjq just takes out toxjq. nosfa with a little bit of a smile there. He knows what happened, what he just got away with. More rocket damage into LG, and he's going to be able to take him down again.
Nice. Yeah, nosfa just playing around the speed at the moment, letting Tox come at him. And just remember, nosfa is no slouch when it comes to aim either. Once we are on the South American, on the European server, should I say, nosfa is more than accustomed to the ping, so it's not an issue.
Just missing out on that rail as Tox from down below, going back up for the tri-bolt as nosfa over by the rail, positioning well here. No major item up for about 18 seconds. Heavy's going to be the next one as the light armor's taken 2 rockets to nosfa's name. A little bit of damage, so now Tox has the information he needs. But in terms of weaponry, what is he going to use to try and make this fight? There's a rail that just misses. There's another one, and nosfa's going to use that to use tri-bolt and use LG to get in. Good rail from Tox, trying to stand his ground, and he gets it. Nice frag there, able to rocket jump up and maybe cut off this Mega, but great peeker from nosfa, preemptively knowing where he's going to be, and he just takes the fight, and it doesn't go his way. That LG from the Terminator, so strong.
It should have gone his way, but exactly that. Like I said, about an 80% LG right there.
Oh.
And nosfa comes back in, knowing Tox is low, and bullies his way onto this Mega.
Go. Big rocket. A little bit of LG tickle there. Some of us were hoping for a 2-piece, but that's fine. You don't need to always rail after a rocket combo. LG's will suffice. Up by 2 now. nosfa casually grabs that heavy. A long time before items. Tox is going to get caught out. It's going to be all LG. A little bit of health as well. Shotgun switch for nosfa, but the peeker's going to be what sends him over the edge for his 4th frag of the game.
And as incredible as the aim is from Tox, at the end of the day, he has to remember he's playing a slash, and without a stack to his name, these fights should be going a lot worse for him, and he should be more tempered in his approach.
We did mention it's very easy to play super aggressive with the speedy champions. Tox, of course, a veteran, so I don't think he's falling into a trap per se, but he is getting a little over-aggressive with that shotgun blast up the jump pad. That was an all-in play that worked out. nosfa, though, spawns right on the heavy. Yeah,
he ran out of shaft right there, so had to go full aggression. Unfortunately, worked out, but he's lost out on that subsequent heavy. No major items now for a rotation. Really needs to get this Mega. Hasn't got any rockets left, though, so it's going to be all hit scan.
I absolutely love just the shit posting in chat. toxjq, the first 98-year-old in Quake Pro League here. Really showing what he has after all these years. 2 to 4 As nosfa trying to make a clean getaway with this heavy. Does get a rail, eats a rail on the way out, but he wants to go toe-to-toe, and Tox comes out on top a little bit. I mean, stack is firmly in nosfa's advantage, but with that light armor, it's about even. Next rail could really make the difference here. As the snail trail popped, and nosfa has to be careful.
Well, Quake is a game for all ages, for you, and if Tox is 96, what does it say about chat skill? Goddamn boomers.
Wow. Calling out the chat, and Wenger, let's not forget, the first 17-year-old ever. Actually, Strong Sage is legitimately, I think, 18 or 19, but we'll see him play later. Let's try and focus up, Dan. 2-4 as we're hitting the halfway mark here. A little bit of a peeker play coming out. Oh, wow. Is that the longest peeker we've seen? I'm not sure. We've seen a lot in our day, Dan. All right. 5-minute warning here. This should be a frag for nosfa. And yeah, let's switch to the rail. Perfectly placed. Oh no. Using the jump pad, using a little fake, and nosfa just beautiful.
Nice. nosfa's just containing the chaos, putting it back in his bottle. You can see Tox desperately trying to raise the tempo, but nosfa's just ready for it time and time again. Just playing slightly reserved, but maintaining these strong defensive positions. Tox is running into it time and time again. The damage is good, but it doesn't really matter when you're not getting the items.
Yeah, again, same problem, right? You can do all the damage in the world, but you need a little bit of stack to work with, and unfortunately for Tox, love the slash, but she is a light champ. Very, very squishy, and nosfa's just grabbing the items here. If we take a look at the items split, it looks like about 10 for Toxic, 12 for nosfa, so not the biggest difference in terms of the majors. Light's about the same at 12 and 13 as well, so it really just comes down to kind of the stack that you have as the champ. nosfa, here's the chase! Good rocket on the way out, but nosfa just playing aggressive when he needs to and knowing he can close up these frags, and almost there's another one, and at the very least just stands tall, steals the rail, and Tox has no choice but to try and shotgun his way out.
It shows how good the pick of the Strug is, because he's using the speed to close the gap when slashes spawn for the refrag. When he does it, he's using it to get in position and having the better stack to play defensively as he pulls up
he's
the
going
map.
for a swing. Oh, I thought he was going to fly off again. I thought he was going for a ride. Very weak, though. Big opportunity for Toxic right here, but that rail's defensive so good. Gets another one, but Toxic able to clean up that frag. More importantly, grab the Mega right after. Has the heavy waiting for him, and this is a big, big opportunity. Less than 3 minutes, but with the speed that Tox has, this is exactly what he needs to try and get back into this. And what would we love more than to see another overtime game here in Season 4 of Quake Pro League?
If there's one thing Tox is good at, it is forging comebacks unexpectedly as well. So if he can keep this rotation up, who is to say he can't do it? Oh, how unfortunate.
Yeah, just tried to forge ahead. Peeker did so much damage, and nosfa was able to use that shotgun blast to end it. 220 left, down by 5. Nice sneaky play there from nosfa. Gets him out of there. Good rail as well, as Toxic is on the hunt. Doesn't have any armor, but he's just flying around the map. Time is a factor here. 6 frags down, 2 minutes, but I don't know if he needed to necessarily push right then and there, and takes the rail off the spawn again. Dan, is this too far gone?
Yes, it is.
I think with that one for sure.
Yeah, and Tox just didn't really hit as many shots as he needed to make some of the aggressive plays. Once again, going flying in, but this is kind of desperation at this point. That is understandable. 13-5. nosfa letting Tox run at him most of his time, and all credit to him, didn't give him many rail angles. He's quite happy to take these mid-range fights when Tox was forcing him, because he knew Tox didn't have a stack.
And so look, we have 1:20 left. This one is all nosfa. So I want to get a little deep here, and I know I can't because I'm an idiot. But Tox being the veteran he is and being so good at Slash, do you think it's just a habit pick to pick Slash? Granted, I know this slide is much better and smoother for Slash than Strog. But in this matchup, you prefer the Strog, right? Because you still get the speed, as you said. You get a better stack, and you also kind of get better abilities, in my opinion. So do you think Tox needs to start looking at his champ picks, maybe?
It's a consideration. Like, Slash is more than viable. It's a great pick, but the Strug was definitely also not a counter, but at least it was a good management pick for the Slash. So
it
would he
just
have
seems
more
like
success?
maybe Straw could be considered just as good as Slash. Obviously not as fast, but I mean, it does everything she does and maybe a little better in some areas. I don't know. It's up for discussion. I'm asking the professional, so.
Not anymore, but I would have picked it because I think, as you say, it has all of the same utility, but just is a more stable pick, whereas the Slash is very much that cyclical high, lows. If you're doing well, then you can really snowball. If it's going against you, then it feels rough. So I think the Strug just has that safety net with it.
Okay, I like that. I'm just trying to use my stupidity to teach the children out there that want to get into Quake and give them some tips from pros. So hit the 10-minute mark. That's a big victory for nosfa there, 16-5, as he's able to take Awoken. Still, you know, the connoisseur that I mentioned. Didn't have to go into overtime for this one, but loading up map number 2, we're going back to Blood Covenant. As you mentioned, it's going to be Doom versus Nyx. And on this one, you specifically like the Nyx pick a little bit better. But my question is, why? When you have the Doom Slayer, you have the double jump, you have the Berserk cancel now, what, in your opinion, makes Nyx a little bit better going into Blood Covenant?
You have the wall jump, you have the Ghost Wall. Just gives you that massive fallback to play with as well. And she's just a little bit, just more versatile because of that. That's why I prefer her. And to your point on the first map, it was actually nosfa who had the first pick, so he actually preemptively picked the Struggle away, so Tox didn't really have much of a choice either.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot more sense, because I'm sure that, I mean, I've seen Tox play Strog before, and it's just like, you're just as good as you are on the Slash. And again, the kit with Strog is a little bit better. But nonetheless, those were the highlights as we take a look at the map score. nosfa runs away with that one heavy-handedly. Well, is that a thing? I'm going to make it a thing now. 16-5, a bit of a, I don't know, not throwaway, but definitely firmly in nosfa's favor on that one. All nosfa. Hopefully, Tox can bounce back on Blood Covenant, but he does have the Doom pick going up against the Nyx, and that might be a little difficult. As you said, the Ghost Walk is just so good in bad situations to get the hell out of there. Also to attack, depending on what your situation is.
Exactly. Obviously, it's going to come down to execution, no matter what, but I feel that the Nyx, when she gets established in the map, is so difficult to dislodge.
I agree. It's all about the excellence of execution, so you should all check out ZSX's Frag movie whenever you get a chance. It's probably somewhere on YouTube, I don't know. But we're loading up map number 2. Gonna get in there shortly. What were you gonna say, Dan? What was that?
I was going to say it's on my OnlyFans, but it's on YouTube as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's good, wholesome content on there.
Yeah.
Very wholesome. Yeah, map number 2, Blood Covenant. I would love to see it forced into a map 3 as the decider. Again, especially since, you know, Tox has been away for a while. This is kind of his wake-up game. Welcome back to the league. You hope that he can pull one out. I would love to see it. But we're loading up here shortly. And nosfa looks strong for what it's worth.
I was going to say exactly that. nosfa's come to play, right? He looks really, really good. He knew exactly what Tox wanted to do, and Tox played into his strategy. So Tox has to definitely take his foot off the pedal and reassess a lot of this, because mechanically, once again, solid, but many of the situations nosfa had control of, and that's exactly what he wanted. He wanted Tox to push.
Well, we'll see if Tox can push nosfa to a map number 3 as we're live now. A little bit of a shotgun blast from across the map. Interesting starting weapon, Dan, for this map?
Yeah, a little bit, actually, but it doesn't come into play too often. I would definitely go with the machine gun.
Safely getting in on that rail. It's a nice slow start to this Blood Covenant, map number 2 between these two.
Oh, desperately trying to close this first flag off. Not able to do so. Has to force the Ghost Walk out as well. Not ideal. Tox living quite another day. Doesn't have an LG yet, so we'll make his way over there now.
Just missing out a little bit of tribal. That's decent damage there, especially on the exit. Gonna make nosfa think twice. Heavy's gonna be up first for Tox. Going around the corner, actually getting better position towards the Heavy. Is he gonna still play the middle and just force nosfa to a side after that rail? He doesn't really have a choice. Both players very weak, going for the kill shot. Around the corner comes nosfa's going to drop down, grab the light armor, and double back for the Mega. I like that play.
Definitely what we expected here. Slower pace from Tox, didn't have the same capabilities as the Slash, obviously, which, in my opinion, favors him to play more methodical like this, as well as nosfa just respecting that and making this balance with the Nyx of not overexposing himself.
Nice rail there from Tox. I like the double back for another rail. Beautiful, but nosfa is able to get one of his own to land before they disengage.
Trading rails at the moment, both not hitting a huge amount. So quite slow and steady. Trading their major items across the map. Neither one willing to take a risk by delaying.
I want to say my memory is terrible, but I'm pretty sure it was Tox and Chrom that had like a 12-minute, 14-minute overtime game on Blood Covenant.
Oh, yeah.
So that could be another situation here. I know it's still early, but both players playing very well-paced, reserved, not committing to anything, as Tox is going to miss that rail, and he wants more, and nosfa unfortunately misses with his as well. He's not landing the shots to really open anything up yet, Dan.
Well, neither one of these champions has the capability to close the gap. So what you can see happening is they're both teasing each other with the distance fights, but as soon as they get low, back off, trade for the major item. Nyx has the Ghost Walk if things get really dire. But at the moment, bang on trading items.
Yeah. Complete swap, 5 heavies to 1 mega for Tox, in the reverse for nosfa as he's grabbed 1 heavy to 5 megas. Light armors, though, firmly for nosfa, 10 to 2 for Tox. Living off those lights.
That's a bit of a mistake from Tox. Luckily, he forces out the Ghost Walk, and they do retreat, but they're going to meet in the choke point. Tox did not expect that whatsoever, so amazing play from nosfa.
It's definitely rare to kind of square up like that and come out of the Ghost Walk, especially since some of the nerfs. But yeah, the Tox completely caught off guard. nosfa puts up his first frag of the game, and a big one at that, as we're nearing the 4-minute mark here. Gets a great rail, and another one! Oh boy.
And you can see already the difference in why I slightly favor the Nyx in this encounter. Just quicker around the map, with that Ghost Walk as well being the deciding factor. In 2 occasions already, just gives you the higher potential, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're really starting to see it shine here. And also with the Doom double jump, the mobility's there, but it's also just a big sound cue, right? Yes, you can use it to actually fake out your opponent, but more often than not, it's just a big air horn as to where you're going and where you're going to be as the rails again missing for both players. Now it's LG on LG, who's got the bigger shaft. Tox is going to drop down and just keeps missing rails. The shotgun swap for nosfa finally coming through to get the 3rd frag. But Tox was 1 rail away from getting his first frag on the board, just missing out.
Yeah, but his rail's been poor this set so far. 26% in this map alone. nosfa, though, you can see now feeling more confident, playing the angles. Goading Tox out, who does indeed fall for it with the fake double jump. He's pushing on in, forces out the Ghost Walk, but at what cost? It should just be easy frag. As I say, that Tox is just constrained to the back area.
Hanging on for dear life, using that double jump to get onto the ledge in the stairwell and survive. Fight for the mega, but Tox is not going to get there in time. The firm cutoff from nosfa. Now he can actually push out and extend the lead before even picking it up. Looking for a cheeky angle there. Almost gets it. Nothing doing for now. Let's look at that stack on Nyx.
Yep, it is busted. And he has the rotation down, the items are split. He knows exactly what's up, but exactly this. He should be forcing out, checking the area, seeing where Tox is at. And there's nothing amiss. Pick it up. Go back into the rhythm. Tox still hasn't got a rail since the last frag either, and that's been problematic. He's got one now, but the damage coming out from Nyx, Tox will miss another round of rotation.
I love that play from nosfa just to kind of switch things up and say, I have a lot of stack, I'm going to rocket jump and immediately Ghost Walk and just make you guess and kind of force your hand and see what you do. Nothing really came of it, but just to keep Tox on his toes. LG on LG. Oh, man. These rails just not coming through for either player. So close. Now Tox trying to melt him down after taking a rail. Here's the jump pad a little bit too late on the flick. Could this be for nosfa? And it is, the machine gun.
You see the situation there where he just goads Tox into a fight. Tox barreling through a choke point. LG on LG, just not the fight he needs to take. Loses out. And then with the confidence of the Nyx and a Ghost Walk, fairly easy frag overall for nosfa.
Not bad at all. 3 minutes until he can claim map number 2 for his own. Looking very, very strong. Tox just doesn't have the answers. Nice rail though, but that rocket will land. Brutal.
Shadows hide me.
Oh Lord. Hundo. nosfa uses that Ghost Walk to make sure that he doesn't take any return damage before securing this heavy, but it's a good play from Tox to get the rail, but the machine gun absolutely tears through Doomslayer. 5th frag for nosfa on the board. And at this point, you start to wonder, can it be possible, Dan? And I don't think so after that 6th one. I think it's just open season for nosfa right now, just adding to his body count. And
Doom just doesn't have the abilities to be able to get 6 frags in this time limit. Not quick enough. No fantastic abilities to blow the game open. If nosfa wanted to, he could run for the rest of the map, and he doesn't even need to. Tox is trying his best to work his way back into it, but as is map 1, nosfa's just creating situations that Tox is running into headfirst, unfortunately, without the stack to follow it up. Ever since nosfa managed to split the 2 major items, Tox has barely touched a major item.
Yeah, it's been slim pickings for Tox. 8-0 for nosfa, just a dominant performance right now. We have less than 1:30 remaining. So going back, if the first pick was for nosfa, then Tox instant Doom, right?
Yes, he straight up picked Doom.
So I wonder who else was on the board, because you got to wonder, like, there's got to be someone that was maybe more suited for this map, but yeah, the double jump's not bad. To traverse the top of the map, it's not a bad pick, but, you know, I'm just wondering who else was left on the board.
Can't remember who was banned first up, but if Athena wasn't, there was been Athena there.
Yeah, we'll have to look at the pick bans again. A little bit of tickle from down below.
Even Visor, we've seen that obviously from Havoc as well. Obviously doesn't give you the utility of a Doom to get across the map, but Piercing Sight has a lot of use on this particular map. Got to remember this map is flush with vials as well, accessible vials, so you can keep your abilities up, and nosfa's done a good job with that with the Ghost Walk, because I don't think Tox is used to Berserk, so nosfa's just been spamming Ghost Walk at will.
Yep. It is there when he needs it, doing a great job. Dominant performance here. Should be able to get this one a little tickle. Yep. Much more than a tickle. But 10-1. Maybe 10-2 if Tox gets in there, if he really wants to, but just absolute fantastic performance from nosfa here on map number 2, taking Blood Covenant.
Yeah, no, really, really good play. Again, I don't feel that, with all respect to Tox, I don't think he's stretched nosfa. I think nosfa's been playing within himself, but he's been playing the right game to counter Tox. If you get sucked into the battle with Tox, it can get messy, and that's when you end up losing. But nosfa's constrained him and very much kept him at arm's length. So really well played by nosfa.
Really well indeed, and that means he took the set 2-0, potentially working on a 3-0 as we're going to load up Molten Falls here shortly, and we're going to see the debut of Eisen in Season 4. Tox is going to be rocking that, and we're going to see Galena yet again. Name a better duo. Map 3 Galena Anchor. Like, that's, I think, the 4th set where we've seen Galena come out. Very strong pick, but on Molten Falls, I'm interested to see how the Eisen's going to be utilized by Tox.
Yeah, no, me too. Again, it's useful. The turret's always good. You can throw it in doorways when you're running through. Plenty of situational utility. Just nothing stands out as a massive flag of what you should do with Eisen on this map. And I haven't seen anything in this series so far to suggest why a result would be any different. You know, going into this, you would always expect now, the way it's played out, this should be an nosfa victory.
We'll see as we take a look at the stats there. Again, domination on Blood Covenant there. And if you're a Tox fan, you got to do something. Make some noise in the chat. Spam some all caps or something, because you want to see Tox succeed. All right, it's the return of a legend. We want to see it happen. So map number 3, maybe that's where he shines a little bit. Eisen versus Galena on Molten Falls could happen. Could happen, but we'll see. nosfa's just looking really good. Like you said, he's not getting pressured into these weird fights. He's taking them at the right time, and as you said, goading Tox into doing what he wants. He's giving him this false sense of security, saying, "Oh, I'll take your fight. Just kidding. This isn't actually on your terms," and it's working beautifully for nosfa right now.
Definitely. So, see no difference to turn it around here. Galena is an amazing pick. Definitely more stable, as you say, on this particular map. If you waste a turret, then similar to Death Knight, there's not much Ison offers you. So.
Just hating on champs left and right today.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Wheat to get in here and talk shit about Scale Bear. Okay, map number 3, Molten Falls loading up. I heard the ding, and that's exciting.
You better not.
We'll see. We'll see. Papa Wheat will be in here for this next 2 series that we have the headliners coming up. But first, we got to finish off Toxic versus nosfa. And again, hopefully Toxic can put up this map, get some confidence going. All right. It's been a while, but it's good to have him back in the league. Absolute legend. But nosfa, he's taking him to task right now. We'll see if it's going to be a clean sweep 3-0.
It's been a rough watch because he's handicapped everything Tox wants to do. And yeah, Tox definitely hasn't played his best game, but a large part of that is just the way nosfa's played. Limiting the angles, limiting the fights that Tox can take. So, yeah. Raise your dongers for Tox in this one.
Yes, dong's out for Tox, as we always used to say. Good rail off the bat, shotgun around the corner to try and pepper him down. Timmy the turret, a little bit of damage. I don't even think it landed. The shotgun, is it going to be enough? And holy, nosfa did so much damage with those up close and personal rockets, but Tox is able to take the first frag. Being a little bit aggressive, maybe blowing off a little steam, so to speak, here, but not a bad start at all.
Oh, first time he's taken the lead, I think, in this series. So, positive start for Tox.
And it's all because of your catchphrase that I'm going to print on a t-shirt. 1-0. 1 minute in for Tox here. Ooh, that rocket could have been big. Good rail around the corners. nosfa may want to try and pressure this. He's going to back off, actually. Toxic going to reroute. But it looks like he's going to give up the heavy. Living off a light and maybe setting up for this mega. Interesting. I figured that he would pressure a little more on that heavy.
Yeah, in some ways I'm glad he's not keeping control of the map, but at the same time you don't want to give nosfa free space, free breathing room.
At the very least, I know he heard the pickup, so as long as you keep the timings, it's not as bad. But yeah, free items in the Quake Pro League is always, you have to have a plan. You can't just keep giving him away as Tox slithering up the stairs, maybe looking for some opening damage on this round of heavy.
Working his way around. As you say, he does know the timing, so Tox, sorry, nosfa is coming on through, taking this fight, LG on LG. This time Tox are more than ready for it, and with the stack advantage, really well played. nosfa's in the vicinity for the mega, but he doesn't have the weaponry to compete. Without the mid-range weaponry, he doesn't want to get caught. Gives that up, and perfect start for all the Tox fans out there.
And this is what we wanted to see on the previous maps, but there's unfortunately still a lot of map left, and I'm still terrified about the last 2 or 3 minutes. Good rails strung together by Tox, and he's able to get his third. So building up momentum, which is always fantastic. Good cut off here with the rocket, a little bit of Timmy for insurance. Can nosfa get around the corner? Ooh, almost hit the pre-aim rail there, and he does on the way down.
Oh, nosfa hitting the clutch rails there. Good, what I thought was a good push by Tox, but it wasn't to be. Slightly overexposed himself. nosfa, though, going to be a little bit late for this heavy. It's going to come up through. Tox isn't ready. Facing behind. Huge rocket coming out. Actually gets the pickup as well. And the frag. Cleanly as well.
Oh, boy. Not like this. And that's a little bit stronger. He's going to just avoid the Timmy, really. Positioning well for the mega. Toxic making him pay with that LG. Holy God. It's a lot of tickle.
57. Yep, that's what we want to see. He's finally able to find the situations where he's closing the gap on his terms. Beast mode right there. nosfa is making his way over, but he's a little bit late himself. Lobby Rail will take this fight, but again, this is not the right fight. Tox has the exit route. It's nosfa that's looking a little bit desperate now.
Yeah, and that rail was so close to connecting, it would have been it would have gone against everything that should have happened. So, but nosfa, it's kind of how he does things sometimes. 5-2, waiting on that totem. Did grab the light and it disappeared immediately as Tox is just hitting so much LG. The rail's not too bad either. 66%. Granted, he's only shot 6, but that's not a bad start at all. But that jumping into lightning, very dangerous. nosfa makes him pay as he grabs the heavy. Takes care of Timmy while he's at it.
No, whilst Tox's rail has been a little bit hit and miss this series so far, the LG, as you can see, definitely has not. And now he's got more and more opportunities to force these fights, particularly because he has the lead. nosfa is having to take more of an aggressive maneuver than he was forced into in maps 1 and 2.
Footsteps, looking for the right angle, and that's such a good rocket around the corner as Tox just wanted a little bit of rail damage. Doesn't have the stack to work with here. Makes quick work of Timmy the turret. nosfa back on the hunt, does take a rail, fantastic from Tox, but can he get this mega or at least do damage? Oh no, the stealth rocket!
Great play though, he's ready for that.
Life-saving Timmy.
Yeah, he's still on the ropes as nosfa is healthy. nosfa's also wary of what might be. Decides to go and get himself a 3 heavy instead. So right play. Tox living on the edge.
Ooh, what a trap! The rockets will land. nosfa just out of nowhere says supplies. 5-3, cutting the lead down. Still has the overstack.
Fully stacked, has the overstack. Both major items to his name. Tox now needs to get back into his set by getting on these items. That was what he was doing well for the first 5 minutes. Definitely fallen away from control over the last minute or so.
A bit silent before dropping down for that heavy. I think he may have heard Tox down below and almost gets the rail.
Baiting to drop. nosfa shouldn't be doing this. There's too much time to take such a risk. He knows he needs to go across to the Megas. Taking it nice and slow, drops down. Misses the first rail. He's trying desperately to get a clean pickup. Tox wants the rockets as well, which he gets, but no damage.
Oh,
there you go. That's why turrets, yeah.
Oh,
nosfa,
beautiful.
No. Desperation and frustration right there as he gets blocked back out. Yeah, that was not the play.
Oh my god! See you later!
Oh, he watches it with a smirk.
He should have waved. Best pop-off 2023. 7-3 for Tox as he has the 4 frag lead, looking a little more comfortable than before. But can he hold on? That, for me, and maybe most Tox fans, is kind of the story here. Is we've seen this before, but this is kind of do or die time. Can he close out the game?
Yeah, and the Ison pick's been working well. The few times he's used the turret in combat, TP and choke points has been really effective. Obviously, the Gleaner's had his moments as well, but ever since Tox took the lead, he's been able just to slow the pace and play more calculated. This is something that I just feel that favors him. Get into this rhythm, play a slightly slower pace, but just more methodical.
Big rail from nosfa is toxic. Hanging by a thread. Does steal away the heavy. Has 2 bubbles to work with. Long time until the mega. He needs to get out of here. And nosfa just knows all the angles. Dropping down, getting another rail, keeping Tox weak. Almost gets another one around the corner. But Tox is alright with that. He's going to survive. Almost gets cut off. Big rocket. This should be a frag for nosfa here. And it is.
Definitely still time. He's got the overstack as well. Both items are up though, so Tox will get this mega. Hasn't got any weapons though, that's definitely going to be a crippling factor. Will nosfa try and cut him off by the OG? He knows it's there, he's trying again. A little bit late compared to before, but he's got the damage, but not enough. I like the play, but it's just wrong timing.
Holy, so much LG. Oh, and the rocket pop around the corner, nowhere to go. nosfa goes down again. And as time is ticking, can't help but feel like Tox has done just enough on map number 3 to put some money in his pocket. He is shooting 51% LG.
And he's used it an awful lot. You can see him actually parking the rail for this one, much rather just get in the face of the opponent. It's worked. far, far better. He tried to do it on Blood Covenant in the previous map, but nosfa shut that down with his angels, whereas this map just wasn't as possible. He was able to close that gap, able to get in his face, and it's worked out beautifully.
Yeah, he's shot 625 cells of LG, and he's still shooting 51%, so that's bonkers.
Yep, pretty much half his damage has come from the LG.
Insane. Terminator showing up here. 1 minute left.
Whoa.
No signs of stopping. Taking the fight to nosfa. nosfa takes
attraction beam.
Check him, PC. This LG's nuts. You know what's going to be a great match? Whenever it happens, Tox versus Series. Let's talk about that LG.
It'll either be great or we'll end up crying because of the lack of strategy.
I mean, mechanically, it should be fantastic. As nosfa puts up another one. 8-4, 30 seconds left. This one's done in favor of toxjq, but nosfa will take the series 2-1 overall. So congrats to him, but I think we got the best of both worlds. toxjq gets a map win, feels all right about it. nosfa showed absolute dominance on map number 1 and 2. So a great start for him. Timmy just pushes him through the doorway. Great job, buddy.
I think I completely agree with that summary. It's great to see Tox on the board. I felt map 1 was really messy from his point of view. Didn't give any respect to nosfa or the strategy. Map 2, he tried to make it more calculated, but it was just really well controlled from a nosfa perspective. And map 3, he was able to get a foot in, and then he forced nosfa into some of the fights he wanted, and you could see what happens.
Just a lot more comfortable on map number 3. The Eisen pick worked out well for him. I think he used the utility well enough to gain the advantage he needed. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, this aggression right off the bat, just knowing that, hey, this is my opportunity, almost went sour, but was able to stabilize after. A little bit of LG, make that a lot.
Nuts.
That's just so much shaft. It's absolutely insane.
And there was a few situations like that that came out his way, got himself a healthy lead, and at that point, nosfa had to take more and more risks, which played into Tox's favor. And mainly LG and Rockets, didn't really use the rail an awful lot. That was a weapon that was letting him down.
There it is. Out the
in
club.
maps 1 and 2, and it was we saw some style points to finish up the game as well.
Absolutely. Just really well played there on that last map. Just a big highlight for his mechanical skill. Let's not forget. I know that everyone thinks that toxjq is 78 years old, but that LG is absolutely
it was absolutely
doing
bonkers.
so much damage. It is. It's just, I don't know. Looking forward, whenever it happens, toxjq versus series, I hope they just do LG only on all 3 maps. But that wraps up the series as we take a look at the map scores there. nosfa firmly taking map 1 and 2 on Awoken and Blood Covenant. toxjq coming up big, getting some money in the pocket on Molten Falls. And not the worst start. So hopefully we'll see toxjq grow a little bit more, get a little more comfortable throughout the season. But a fantastic start for nosfa there.
Definitely. Really, really solid. Some good map 1 and 2. Not the way he wanted to finish it off, but still, we'll be happy with the win. And yeah, I'm sure Tox will build his way into this league. We've seen it before. He's somebody that has the capability to take anyone to the limit and beat anyone, but also lose to anyone if he forgets how to play the basics.
Yeah,
so,
toxjq doesn't even know what's going to happen, does he?
Exactly, right? Chaotic evil. So he needs to just put that stability and consistency to his game, and then he becomes a real threat.
You got to love the dedication, though. I know he took a season off where I don't think he was even trying challengers due to whatever, but now he's back. I mean, that's just a guy like most of us. That's just a player who loves Quake, and it's really good to see him back in the league, forging his way, and we'll see him week in and week out. For now, that ties us off for those sets, and now we have the last 2. And you know what happens, Dan? Dad's coming in to take care of us and kind of wrangle us in. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to bring in Wheat, and we're going to do the headlining games for today. But don't go anywhere. Give us about 5 minutes. We'll chat it over, and we'll see you in a bit.